Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. I mean, we really got some real nice guests. Excellent. I mean, we got Dr. Melissa Clark here. Now, have you ever been to the doctor and they ask you, what's wrong with you? Well, Dr. Clark here has written a book, and she does so many things. She's a speaker, she's an author, and a patient advocate. And the name of the book, believe it or not, I couldn't be, is Excuse Me, Doctor, I Got What? I mean, how many have been there? Well, Melissa, welcome to the Ed Brown Show.
Thank you so
Melissa
much.
Clark. I tell you, you're so involved in so many things. Now, where should we start?
Well, we can start with Excuse Me, Doctor.
How do you get to, Excuse Me, Doctor? How did you come up with that name?
Wow, well, you know, when people actually say those words, excuse me, doctor, I've got what? A lot of times they don't realize, but they're actually on a journey to reclaim their health. But a lot of times that can feel like being dropped in the middle of a forest and asked to find their way out with no compass, no GPS, no guide, no map. And so, excuse me, doctor, I've got what? Taking ownership of your health and making healthcare reform work for you is actually meant to be that guide to help people understand how to own their health, the simple self-health actions they can do today, and then when they need high-quality health care, knowing what that looks like and knowing how to go about getting it.
And you have an answer for all of those questions.
Absolutely. It's a comprehensive guide. I tried to make it easy, put it in lay language so everybody can understand. I'm not one of these doctors that talks in medicalese. I really try to lay things out very simply so that everyone can understand and benefit from it. And in the 10 chapters in there, we go through just about everything you would need to know to really take ownership and take charge of your health and your health care.
Sound like psychiatry too involved there, you know, the medicine, the doctor and everything. Now, how did you get involved? You didn't do it by yourself now.
Oh no, we never do things by ourselves.
That's what I try to tell people.
Yeah.
Nobody out here does anything by themselves.
Absolutely not.
Someone helps them along the way.
Yes.
And who is that?
Well, I have had many helpers and mentors along the way, but I would say my inspiration came from my father. He was a pharmacist, and when I was little, we lived at one point in Jamaica, West Indies.
Is that right?
Yes, and he would go out on Saturdays with a small team himself, a nurse, and a doctor to very rural areas where there was no health care. People would line up for hours and hours and hours waiting to see them because the lines would just go around the block. And it impressed upon me at a very early age, 5 or 6, how precious health is to people and the lengths that people will go to get good health care. So I went to medical school. I absolutely loved it. But then after I finished, my father, who loved medicine himself, got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And I don't know how much you know about it, but it's a really tough disease to deal with. He was misdiagnosed for years. The medicine he got actually was worse in terms of the symptoms that it caused than the disease itself. And then he was almost killed by a medical mistake.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I became very disillusioned with medicine as a result. But then, you know, they say the creator is always creating. And out of that experience of being disillusioned with medicine, I actually rededicated myself to making sure that doctors communicated better with patients, and patients ultimately were able to navigate the healthcare system better, deal with their doctors better, deal with hospitals better, deal with their insurance companies, so that the power was in their hands. So my slogan now is Be Health Empowered, and again, that's one of the main reasons I wrote the book.
Is that right? Great. And what schools did you attend? Give us a little background on that.
So for college, I went to Harvard University in Boston, actually Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Great.
And then for medical school, thank you, I did complete 180 and went out to California and went to University of California, San Francisco. And right when I was deciding where to do my residency, the big earthquake, the World Series earthquake hit. So I took that as a sign to come on back to the East Coast. I came to Washington, D.C. area. I've been here ever since. I did my residency at Georgetown and George Washington, and then I joined the faculty at Howard University in emergency medicine.
Fantastic. Wow. What, you don't have time to do anything, do you? You have all these things, you're author, and you're speaker, and patient advocate, and physician. I mean, that's some load. I mean, you have to be really dedicated to, because you're involved in the physical and the mental aspects of it.
Well, yes. And in addition, and I have to say that all those things actually work together. So it's not like I'm doing them separately, but every time I see a patient one-on-one, I teach them something about being more empowered. So in that sense, I'm always being a patient advocate when I'm seeing patients. And then writing the book has led to me speaking to be able to reach a wider audience when it comes to empowering patients and getting everyone the information that they need. The other thing that the story I told you about my dad inspired me to do was to understand more about alternative and complementary approaches to medicine. So I studied acupuncture, I got certified in acupuncture, and now I'm also able to advise people in terms of how to mix and marry both conventional medicine and complementary medicine like acupuncture and massage and chiropractic, etc.
Massage, I like that part.
Oh yeah, there are actually even a few insurance companies that actually pay for massage, if you can believe that, when you have a legitimate quote-unquote health condition.
Right, but the variation that you have there is just fantastic, and really you personally getting involved, and then the advocate, having your dad to really put you in an environment there that you appreciate it, and you made some adjustment because it was a tragedy right in your own home.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
that's just fantastic, I'm telling you. I'm elated to have you on the show because you're doing some very positive things that we need, you know.
Yeah, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, because here in this area we have terrific talent, and you definitely are one that made dedicated yourself to so many things that we need, and you make people health conscious too. See,
yes, that's the goal.
Where they can watch their diet, you know, and that type of thing, you know.
Yes, and not just health conscious, but I also encourage people to focus on themselves. I often say that, you know, I fly a lot, and every time I fly and get on an airplane, I'm reminded when the stewardess makes the speech about, you know, if there's a sudden loss in cabin pressure, you know, put your oxygen mask on yourself first. Because we often forget to do that. We forget to take care of ourselves first so that we can then help others. And so I really try to emphasize not only being health conscious, but remembering to practice it for yourself first and then be an influence on your family.
And you're located in Silver Springs now. Right?
Yes, I am.
Now, tell us, what are you going to do in the future? So many things you've done.
Yes, well, I continue to speak. I'm getting booked a lot for conferences, speaking at universities, speaking at churches and civic organizations, so I do a lot of that now. I'm getting started on my second book.
And what's that?
Well, I think actually it'll be along the lines of what we just talked about, caregiving and how to be an effective caregiver and to also care for yourself.
And most people take that for granted, but it's a system involved there.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not just like you can just decide you're going to be a caregiver. There has to be training involved, and you got to be able to understand how the person that you're talking to feels.
Yes, yes, and unfortunately, though, for a lot of families, they find themselves in the position of being caregivers for a loved one and not really understanding how demanding it is, what it's about, where to get the resources to do it effectively, and at the same time take care of themselves. And so I'm addressing all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's addressing a whole lot. That's addressing more than I would say the average person thinks about. You know, they take it for granted. You know, when something like that happens. You know, and they the way they react to it, or either they look at other people that are going through the same thing. How would they themselves react? And,
Right.
and that's and most of us never want to put ourselves in a negative environment, you know,
That's true.
and respond. So what happens is that both parties actually both parties are affected. You know,
Yes,
the
that's
person
true.
and then your title is so your title. Excuse me, doctor. I got what? You know what I mean?
Yes, people love the title. I didn't realize that it would get so much
Well,
attention,
the
but it
title,
really has
but
been.
it's so realistic.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's right down to earth because most of us, you know, I guess we feel we're gonna live forever. You know what I mean? And although the different things that realization of life is all around us every day.
That's true.
You know,
And you know, as a physician for 20 years now, I mean, I've heard people say, "Excuse me, doctor, I've got what?" so many times. And I
Right.
think that was really one of the inspirations for the title.
Title of the book.
And, you know, seeing people end up in the emergency department, because I'm an emergency medicine physician by training, you know, having maybe not an understanding of how to best take care of themselves, not having an understanding of how to get the best medical care, maybe being stuck with a doctor who is not giving them the best care, really made me realize that there are a lot of ways that I could help prevent people from even ending up in the emergency department with the right education, the right resources, and the right understanding as to how best to manage their medical care and manage their health.
Okay, give us some tips on being able to accomplish that in about 30 seconds.
All right. Well, one in particular, a lot of people come to me and say, you know, I really need a good primary care physician. How can I find that? Well, there's a new website, ncqa.org. It stands for National Commission on Quality Assurance. And as a result of healthcare reform, there's been a lot of work that's been done to try to get doctors to provide what's called patient-centered care, putting the patient at the center of
What do you call
care.
patient-centered care?
Patient-centered care. And there are a lot of ways that doctors are now changing their practice to be able to provide this. And once they do that, they get certified. And all those providers are listed on this website, ncqa.org, under their provider locator section. You just put your zip code in, and you can find these physicians in your community who have been certified as providing patient-centered care. It's a great place to start if you don't have a physician.
Hey, fantastic. Hey, I want to congratulate you for the fine job you're doing, and you're putting it in writing. You know how some people would say, well, let's talk a good talk, you know, but having a book and the title itself is so realistic, and that's so important. And I'd like to congratulate you. And what we're going to do, we're going to have you back on the show again.
Wonderful.
Because on the second half here, we have Diane Stevens. You know, that's the lady that, you know, she wrote a book too. And she was talking about the different things from a saloon, or as a salon, not saloon, salon, that we need to do as far as our health and hair care is concerned. And once again, beautiful having you here.
Thank you so much, Ed.
We don't have enough time, so what we're going to do, we're going to invite you back and tell us about the different things that you're doing. You're teaching. You're involved in, what's that, patient advocate.
Yes,
You know?
so we can cover things like the 5 things you should never leave your doctor's office without getting answered.
Yeah.
We can cover all that next time. I'll be happy to be back, and thank
Hey,
you for
we
having
look
me.
forward to it.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. Okay, this has been Ed Brown. Be back in a second. And, you know, we want to have Diane Stevens back. You know, she's been to Africa. She's been all around the world and everything. And salon. And she's going to have a demonstration. See you in a second. Hi, welcome back. And you know our next guest, by popular demand, Diane Stevens. Diane Stevens is the #1 salon in the whole metropolitan area, and maybe other places too. I don't know. She's been to Africa, been a lot of places. But what we're going to do, we're going to welcome Diane back, and we're going to get right to Cinderella. Tell us about this Cinderella program. We missed it last time.
We missed it last time, but thank you for having me back.
Right.
So Cinderella Foundation has two components. Locally here, right in the Washington metropolitan area, Prince George's County chapter as well, we actually empower young girls to try to get them to have mentors, to make them bold, smart, and strong. And we have programs where we really impact their lives outside of their school.
Wow. And now, where do you operate from, and how do you get your students involved?
We get people from churches. Sometimes there are situations at a church and a pastor might tell us this young lady is having a problem in her family and her self-esteem is going low. Sometimes it's from the counselors at schools where they'll identify a young girl having some challenges. And sometimes it's a parent that just calls and says, "Can you help me with my daughter?"
Is that right?
Yes.
So all of you out there, here's your opportunity. I mean, you don't get this every day. You know, tell us, how do you get involved in it?
Sure. So www.cinderellafoundation.org and send us a message, or you can call us as well. And then what we'll do is we'll take down your name and number, and then if things go well, we'll have you fill out an application and see if that young woman would be a great fit for our program.
Well, your program, is it in Africa and other places too?
Our program currently is just in the Washington, D.C.
area. Oh.
But the second chapter of Cinderella, we went all the way across the seas to Africa to empower young women as well.
No kidding. Congratulations. I mean, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
The esteem and everything that you develop among the young ladies, you know, because some of them, they feel that they're not part of the system.
Sure.
And your examples are the thing that's most important when they see it, and the way that you have your program set. Okay, now that program, Cinderella, what about the age limit?
So Cinderella for Washington, D.C. is age 10 to 18.
10 to 18?
Yes, young ladies.
Wow, that's the development age.
Exactly,
Yeah,
definitely development
10 to
age.
18. Now, how important is it that, along with that, you associate not just hairstyle, but dress properly for different occasions?
Oh, yeah. The mentorship for Washington, D.C. program, we talk about their hair, we talk about how they should dress, we talk about how they should have conversations with their parents, how they should converse with the adults at school, also with their peers, how to avoid conflict. We really are trying to prepare them for college. They could go to college and a secondary school, but our goal is to get them in a career that they may never even dreamed of.
Yeah. And one of the most important things too is teach them how to respond to certain situations that they're going to meet in life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they got to know how to handle it.
We role play often for conflict resolution.
Right.
We don't want our girls, because it would be a very bad thing if any of them got into an altercation.
Right.
And then they would have a strike against them in our program.
Right.
So we are definitely pouring into them to show them how to definitely resolve conflict.
Well, give us an example of that.
For example, it could be maybe someone that's involved in drugs in school. And maybe that someone says, do you want to try the marijuana or whatever drug they have? That they should definitely, say, that's just not what I do, and move away from that. Just trying to really address the situation and try to tell an adult what's going on.
Excellent.
And then at home, with regard
and you
to
have role playing with
day
this, so that actually you're not you're talking about something, you're showing them how. And what about the physical aspects of dressing?
Oh yeah, we make sure that she learns how to look and dress appropriately. We even do role playing at restaurants, and why you put the napkin on your lap, even why sometimes you have a black napkin rather than a white, because the black napkin won't get lint on the black pants. I mean, we talk about everything.
Good, great. And so how many students in the program like
We
that?
have 100 students currently. We're about to have
No
140.
kidding.
We take on the Seed School, DC chapter, and we partner with them as well.
Wow, that's fantastic there, that you're able to do. What about volunteers and parent involvement?
We love volunteers. Just have to have you
Okay.
go through a little slight background check, but we encourage volunteers. We encourage speakers to talk about your occupation. We had someone from air traffic control talk about all the facilities and the opportunities in air traffic control so that the girls can learn something about your specific and unique job.
Oh wow, that program is. What about the federal government giving you financial help? What do you think about that? Maybe we get some of these senators and representatives something to.
That would be
feed
great, Mr. Brown.
to feed into a program that's dealing here with the young ladies. You know, many times, you know, most of the programs that you see and everything is dealing with the male. But there's an opportunity for you to really get involved with the female, you know, because she generally is left out of the programming. And you have this programming which is, I say, outstanding. And I have to commend you and your organization for setting up this Cinderella program. And you people out there just don't sit and look. Get involved and volunteer. She needs all the volunteers. All these ladies are criticizing young ladies the way they dress, talk, and all. Here's an opportunity for you to get involved. Hey, look, what is this here? We have what's her name?
You know what? I haven't quite given her name.
You should have her name. She's Diane's going to give a demonstration here
Sure.
of salon work at her salon there.
Sure.
Okay, Diane, tell us about this. I'll call her Mary.
Okay, we'll call her Mary. So, you know, Cole Stevens and also Cinderella Foundation goes to Africa. And so in Africa, we train women, young women there, age 18 to 24, on a skill or a trade in cosmetology. So we were donated, all these mannequins were donated
Is that right?
for us to help them learn skills in cosmetology. So we teach them scalp manipulation, teach them how to do a cleansed scalp, and show them how to look for a nice, healthy scalp and how to just talk through a lot of things in cosmetology. We teach them how to use the scissors for proper cutting of the mannequin. We have them practice on the mannequin first.
Yeah, right.
Before we let them do people, but they're looking for skills and trades in Africa. The women want to grow, they want to learn. And their school system's not like our school system here. So we go over to Sierra Leone, Freetown, and we show about 300 women every 2 years
Is that right?
how to do cosmetology skills on our mannequins. And
Congratulations.
thank you very much.
That's really fantastic. Your organization is getting involved in something like that. Exposure. You know, that's what most of us always need, exposure.
Sure.
And exposure, making them be aware of their physical and mental needs.
Absolutely.
See, and your organization, this is what you're doing. And just like I said, you all the volunteers, and this is your chance. You know, somebody help you. Why don't you volunteer to help somebody else? And this is your opportunity. All the young ladies out there, you be critical of them, but what are you doing to help them? And Diane here, this Cinderella group is just outstanding. And the different hair, you say you get involved with the scalp. What about the styling? Tell us a little bit about that.
We train in skills and styling as well. In Africa, they do a lot of braiding. Are you talking about in Africa or are you talking about in the U.S.?
Yeah, both places.
Okay, so in the U.S., we do a lot of round brushing and flat ironing of our clients at the salon, and we do a lot of color and also cutting. Now in Africa, because it's so hot there, they already know how to braid, so we teach them more styles with doing updos and things like that with their styling.
What do you call them? You used to call them upsweeps.
Upsweep? Oh, you know! Yes, so we are making them actually become even more creative. So we do storyboarding projects to help them mentally know how they're going to have a great guest at the salon, and the things that you do, the things you want to know in your future.
Oh, wow, that's really helpful, you know. We're a young lady now, you know what I mean, with so many families with, you know, one parent, you know, that they can take care of themselves, you know, and that's one of the basic things, you know, if they're looking for a job or places like that. Hey, your first impression, you know, when you walk in there is how you dress, you know.
That's
and,
right.
And your hair style is very, just like you have a different hairstyle than last time. I like this one. It's very nice. But
Thank
anyway,
you.
I want to thank you, and we want to keep in touch in the Cinderella program. What we want to do is have you back
Okay,
concerning the Cinderella program and some of the students.
That'd be wonderful.
And you're doing a wonderful job, and continue to do that. This has been Ed Brown. All right, see you next time. We're going to see these young ladies again.